Welcome to Monday Night Live at the Mountaineer Podcast at the Mountaineer Cafe. Excuse my voice tonight. Scaring people at the Honor Wood Saturday night, so I lost my voice. But this is where we celebrate our current athletes and honor our rich tradition and excellence in Madison County athletics. First, before we start off, we want to offer our condolences to the Graves family on the passing of the Madison County legend Jimmy Graves. Jimmy was the PA announcer for Madison football for almost 40 years. He's also a member of the Booster Club. He fed countless number of sports teams meals with his wife Rachel. And Jimmy did so much for this community, and it will never be forgotten. And we want to offer our condolences to Rachel, Lucky, and them. First up tonight, we have Mr. Jack Berry, a Madison County legend in his own right. People don't know Jack has a really interesting story to tell from his life. So let's talk about growing up in Madison, Jack. What can you tell us about youth sports and before we come to high school?
Well, it was one thing that tied the community together. My uncle Billy Mitchell coached 3 sports back in the 60s, I guess. And I spent a lot of time at the high school before we had lights. We played our home football games at Porterfield Park. I remember the people that played. When Billy, I call him Uncle Billy, was coaching. He coached baseball. He came within the ace of making the Detroit Tigers team, and he had a shoulder problem. He was in spring training with people like Al Kaline and people like that. He loved sports. He did that. I helped him rake the field. I got bats at my house even now, broken bats that were left over from the baseball team. So I kind of came up around sports primarily because of him and people in my family. But then obviously a fan all the way through my elementary school years. Roger Sullivan, who's a physical education teacher at Waverly Yale, started an after-school basketball program in what I guess would have been sometime in the late 60s when I was in elementary school. Athletics was just what everybody did for pleasure around here. And to go to a basketball game, I remember we played Midlothian. We had Mark Borders played for us, and then we got in the state semifinals that year, I think, and lost to Thomas Walker. But we had really good sports teams, particularly the basketball teams. We had a lot of good baseball teams. We had some really good football players. We had 3 or 4 people drafted by the pros in baseball. So it was just something you did if you were a young person in Madison. I started playing Little League baseball when I was 6 or 7 years old. 2 of the best coaches I've had, Junior Lillard and Carson Jenkins.
Yes.
So Pratt's had a team, Radiant got a team, Wrightwood had a team, Kriegersville wound up with a team. It's pretty spirited. A lot of fun.
There was a lot of competition back then between Wrightwood, Wolftown, Kriegersville, and I believe Junior Little's team was the Madison Cardinals.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Wolftown Wolves, Kriegersville Cougars, Wrightwood Red Sox. Yeah, it was a special time to be growing up in Madison back then. And you know, Billy Mitchell was such a mentor to so many people in Madison. He meant so much to the people, and it was a great honor to have the field named after him.
Yeah, it was an honor. I know I'm glad he lived to see it. He was a math teacher and a physical education teacher. He had a whole lot of kids go through his athletic teams, and it was a special honor to be able to play for him.
So you played 3 sports in high school?
I did. A lot of us did. You played football, basketball, and baseball. That's what we had. Eddie Dean actually started a soccer team 1 year for a time. Sammy Banks, I remember, was the goalie. I remember some of the guys on that team. Eddie had actually coached soccer at collegiate, I believe, when he was still in Richmond before he came to Madison.
Yeah.
So, but basketball, baseball, and football were the sports that the guys participated in. The girls had basketball. There weren't a whole lot of sports for young girls at that time. I have 3 daughters, all of whom came through this high school and all of whom played sports. So I particularly appreciate the expansion of the girls' athletic programs. But we had some awfully good girls basketball teams back then. In fact, Billy Mitchell coached one to a district championship.
Yeah.
Jill York was on that team, Jill Withrow, Mary Linda Lamb, Mary Linda McLaren, Debbie Jenkins, Debbie May, lots of very good female athletes during that time too.
Yeah, Becky Gordon started the
Absolutely.
softball program.
Becky was very much involved in all of that.
Yeah, yeah. So, Madison football, I guess, what was your best sport, do you think?
That's a good question. I like basketball the best. I don't know. I'm not one that can speak to that. I love playing all three of them.
Yeah.
And I guess at the end of the day, maybe football is best, but that probably is because of the teammates that we had that surrounded all of us.
Yeah.
People forget that we participated in the district with Matoaca, Midlothian, Buckingham, Powhatan, all these schools around Richmond.
Verona too, I think.
We played Verona. That was back when Billy was coaching. Ken Willard, who played for the San Francisco 49ers after he went to North Carolina, played against Madison. But back in that era, I would call it, we went 9-1 my sophomore year. I started one game. I think we had 25 to 30 people. Mike Clore, Dudley Patty was the quarterback. John D. Mallory, I think, was on that team. I believe Pete York was on that team. We beat everybody on the schedule except Orange. They beat us 28-6, I believe. It was 12-6 for most of the game. And Coach Sizemore, who was a legend in his own right,
Yes.
I'll say this without any hesitation, ran the score up on us, including a fake punt near the end of the game. We had one of the best drives that game I've seen in Madison County football history. 94 yards on about 12 plays to score the touchdown that we scored. And that was a very, very good football team. And one of Eddie Dean's most successful jobs as a coach, I think.
Yeah. Some of those teammates on that team, John D. Mallory, is probably one of the first, him and Russ Tompkins were probably the first big running backs, great running backs in Madison.
I got moved up to the varsity my 9th grade year for a few games, and I held for extra points. And Russell Tompkins, we were ahead of Matoaca 14. That team went 2-8, but there's some very good football players on that team. And we went to Matoaca. And I guess at that point we were 2-7 maybe, or 2-6. And at halftime we were leading 14-12, and Russell Tompkins had scored all 14 points. He had scored 2 touchdowns running. He kicked both extra points. The Kersey brothers played for Matoaca then. One of them wound up playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, as a punt. But they were well known around the state, really, for basketball and football. And Russell was a one-man wrecking crew. He had the strongest arm of any quarterback I think that's ever gone to school here. Eddie actually had him, Eddie Dean, had him stand behind the goalpost before practice and throw the ball over the crossbar to get some loft on it, because he could literally throw a football about 80 yards on the line. Russell was a tremendous athlete, no question.
And then John D. too was a running back.
John D. was amazing. He was on the team with Barry Twyman. I was just talking to somebody about Barry this week, and he's passed away now. My sophomore year, I guess, we had, I think I've got this right, John D., Barry Twyman, and Ronnie Lohr in the backfield, and all of them ran up. John D. and Barry ran under 10 flat 100 on a cinder track, and Ronnie Lohr was probably about a 10-2. And they were our running backs my sophomore year, and my I guess it was my sophomore year.
Yeah. And Ronnie Medley went on to play at Pitt.
Ronnie Medley was an amazing athlete, basketball, football, played on a national championship team at Pitt. I don't think we've had another athlete come from this high school that's ever played on a national championship football team.
That's when it was Marino, or was it?
It was Blackledge, I think, Todd Blackledge, if I remember. I saw Ronnie about a year ago. He and I were very good friends. Got a call from him when I was in New York visiting my daughters, and he wound up, he was living in Florida, he was going to come up to Virginia. And Coach Dean actually had a little get-together at his house that some of us went to. Ronnie was an incredible athlete.
So Coach Dean, that was such a legend in Madison. You want to talk a little bit about Coach Dean?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to do because all of us who played for Coach Dean know how special he was. I'm not sure any of us knew what was ahead at the time, but my senior year, we played the state championship and lost to Appalachia.
Yeah.
Eddie was the coach.
That was at Scott Stadium.
No, that was at Appalachia High School. It was an interesting place. It's closed now.
Yeah.
John Quinley, who's a good friend of mine and former state police captain, went to Appalachia High School. He and I joke about it sometimes. They had a very good football team, very good. We played them in the state semifinals in basketball, and they were good. But that team went undefeated until we met them in the state championship. But Coach Dean was a master at putting personnel in the right place and figuring out a way to beat people.
Yeah.
And if you played on those teams, and I saw the team, we lost to J.I. Burton the next year at Scott Stadium. And then, of course, the following year, we won the first state championship against Clintwood with Carlton Johnson and being a one-man wrecking crew. And Jeff Early, my good friend and former law partner, was quarterback of that team. It was one of the best football games probably Madison ever played.
Yeah. So yeah, his legacy will never be forgotten. That's for sure. But what are some of your memorable games you think you played in Madison?
Beating Orange for the first time in 17 years, even though they weren't in the district, was certainly one of them. And we beat them 34-0, I think, my senior year. We were winning 28-0 at halftime. That wasn't a district game, but probably the largest crowd I ever saw at Madison High School for a football game. I just remember I can still remember the sound, the noise, particularly in the first half. I think that year, too, we beat Strasburg, who had been in the playoffs the year before. The football playoffs had only started, I think, my sophomore year. And we played Strasburg in the opening game, and they had Coach Ben Proctor, who was a tremendous coach. And we went down there and beat them. I think it surprised people. I can't remember the score, maybe 36-18 or something like that. That's the happiest locker room I think I've ever been in. I remember Sleepy Johnson. He was on that team, tremendous football player. Carlton Johnson, all the people, Gary Oots, Blackie Watts, Mike Breeden. I'm leaving people out. Greg Oots, tremendous player. It was, that locker room's the happiest locker room I've ever been in.
So you leave Madison and you decide to go to where?
I went to Washington and Lee. I was hopeful to play basketball, frankly. That didn't work out because the coach wouldn't allow you to even try out for the basketball team if you played football. You know, it was a fall sport. Some of the team, W&L was in the top in the country in lacrosse then in Division I. And some of the lacrosse players, in fact, a couple of the best basketball players there were lacrosse players because of the way the seasons fell.
Yeah.
But I wound up playing football all 4 years, and I was on the track team for 4 years.
So your football career was pretty successful?
We didn't win a lot of games, so I'm not sure I'd say it was successful. I had a lot of fun and got to play almost all of 3 years.
Yeah.
So I have good memories about it. It was fun. We played a different schedule then. The ODAC was just coming into existence. We played Bucknell. We beat Georgetown the last game I ever played there. We played Towson State. We played James Madison. They were 9-0 my senior year. We played in the first game at their place. And I think they beat us 21-15. We gave them a heck of a game, but we lost. And we were playing a schedule that really was bigger than the school, but it was fun. We played the Coast Guard Academy. Otto Graham was the coach, former Hall of Famer with the Redskins and the Browns.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was strictly Division III football. It was a lot of fun. We had some good athletes.
So I know several players in Madison had NFL tries, but I believe you may be the only one that actually got drafted.
I did get drafted, and it was an interesting time for pro football.
By the Buccaneers?
Tampa Bay was an expansion team, and so was Seattle that year. And it wasn't a particularly strong year for quarterbacks, frankly. The guy from San Diego State, whose name escapes me right now, I knew it like the back of my hand, was one of the better quarterbacks.
Was Doug Williams drafted the same year?
No, it was a guy named Parnell Dickinson who played at Mississippi Valley State, where Jerry Rice later played. He had an arm. James Harris was the first African American quarterback of any real note. There were others. But James Harris from Grambling, which was one of the best football coaches in the history of college football, Eddie Robinson.
Yes.
James Harris was a tremendous athlete. But Parnell Dickinson, I think, broke his records in the conference that they played in. Parnell was drafted, I was drafted in the last round. I think he was drafted in about the 8th round, and I got to know him a little bit. And then Steve Spurrier was their supplemental draft, from the rest of the team's quarterback. And there were a couple of other guys there, but Parnell Dickinson was a tremendous athlete. He made the team and left. I went down, they tried to sign us all. They had what I'll call a cattle call right about Easter weekend, and you go down there. John McKay was the coach, part owner, former coach at USC.
Yeah.
They had the USC playbook, and they tried to get us all to sign a contract while we were down there. And some did and some didn't. And I decided if I was going to try to play, I had to quit school and go down there full time. And I wasn't prepared to do that, so I didn't do it.
So you go on to law school.
I went on to law school at the University of Virginia.
And you were a lawyer. You were a judge.
I was a judge for a time. Most of my time at the bar has been as a lawyer. I worked with Jeff for 25 years as a law partner. Started out with Puryear Chandler and early Edgar F. We call him Bo Puryear,
Yeah.
Colt's dad,
Yeah.
who had worked with my father, was my sort of a mentor, and I worked with him for several years before I went off on my own, and then ultimately Jeff and I went and formed a partnership.
And your father was a judge too at Madison?
My dad was a judge starting in 1970 or 71. I was a sophomore in high school. He was on the bench until about 1983, I think, and retired, and then sat a fair amount as a retired judge.
Yeah. So I know you've really set the bar for quarterbacks in Madison and people for not only what your playing career, but for the rest of your life going on. Been married for how many years?
40, let's see. You caught me off guard. No, that's a good question. No, it's I've been married for 43 years.
And you have how many?
I have 3 daughters.
3 daughters. Yeah.
I married Lee Dwyer, John Dwyer, who's a principal here and a very good athlete in his own right. He was captain of the baseball team at the University of Richmond.
Yeah.
And his son Johnny
Yeah.
played on the course of a state championship team that beat not Clintwood, but
Pennington Gap.
Pennington Gap, and Michael Stiles, one of the best athletes that ever went to school here.
Yeah.
Johnny's team in Bridgewater was just inducted into their Hall of Fame there. The team he was on, the first one to win the ODAC in Bridgewater. And Johnny was all conference. Johnny Dwyer on that team, and we went to that team's installation into the Bridgewater Hall of Fame the night they had the Madison County celebrations. The reason I couldn't come to that.
Right.
So
The Hall of Fame. Well, appreciate you coming, and it's been great to hear your story because I think it needs to be told and people need to know about it. And thank you for coming, Jack.
thank you. It's
Appreciate
enjoyed being here. Enjoyed being a part of the athletic program for a long time at Madison County High School.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's get. Been trying to get Jack on for a long time. Finally got him.
What's that?
Been trying to get you on for a long time.
Well, I'm trying to stay ahead of all of it. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, up next is Mr. Larry Hillman. Woo! We have some more special guests after you tonight, Larry.
How you doing?
We have a former All-State football player and
Yeah.
current coach, and we have an All-State trainer.
Who was a great athlete herself.
Yes, that's right. So Larry, let's talk a little about the Page game.
Yeah, a lot of offense, a little bit of defense. Yeah, we tried to get Aaron on the show tonight. We were trying to think back to the last time that Madison had a player that had 8 touchdowns. He threw for 4, and he rushed for 4 on Friday.
Really?
And after the game, I knew he had at least 7, but 8. That 8th one, man, that snuck in there. That's pretty wild stuff. But to top that off, he had 6 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 3 fumble recoveries. So he had probably the game of his life Friday night.
That's like playing techno ball back in the day.
Right,
on
right.
PlayStation.
So,
He was like
he's such a special young man, just a special player, special person. But I thought that was a a remarkable night for him that he'll never forget. And you could tell on his face he was having a lot of fun. Paige is up and coming. They're a young team. They've adapted well to this new offense. It's no secret we've had trouble tackling this year. So we gave up quite a few touchdowns, especially there at the end when we were trying to get some of the younger guys in. But I was really proud of how the kids responded. They returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. We got the ball, drove right down the field and scored. Kicked the ball off. Gave up a first down or two, and they turned it over. So, hats off to our kids. They worked really hard and played hard and finished off well.
So you had some standouts too, some younger guys?
Yeah, so Caden Cottom, he had another good night. He came in, played quarterback for Aaron. He actually was 1 for 1 for 60 or 70 yards and a touchdown. Ran the ball hard. I think he had 12 carries for 90 yards. But, he's a freshman and he was starting middle linebacker all night. I had a linebacker out. So he started and, he did well on defense. A lot of our young guys are stepping up, playing really well. Chance Ferris, Liam Frazier, Avery Mitchell. The same ones I talk about every week. So super proud of them. Connor Roots played really well. He's a sophomore that plays mostly JV, but he got quite a bit of playing time Friday night, and I thought he did really well. So we're excited. We're excited for the season.
Speaking about the JV program real quick before we go on. It's unfortunate this year they had lost. Well, they didn't lose any games, but some of the games got canceled.
It's been an interesting year. A lot of schools around us are having trouble fielding JV teams. So we're lucky to have the numbers we have and able to play a JV schedule. And we've done the best that we could do on short notice of finding games. And we picked up Rocktown and Monticello. So we picked up some schools to get games in, and we did really well. You don't have much time to practice, and I think we beat both of the teams we picked up on a short week. And they're both bigger schools. The JV's playing really well. It's hard for kids. A lot of these kids played youth football before JV, and you're coming up and you're practicing week after week, and you don't have a game, so it's hard to keep them engaged and involved. But they've done a fair amount of them done a really good job of staying committed and being ready every week.
So big game this week.
Yeah, they
probably one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah, they JV wise, they're undefeated, so that's going to be a big game. And we actually moved that game to tomorrow because of the weather coming in. So we're going to go up there tomorrow with JV guys, and they're top of the region. They're state runner-ups until somebody knocks them off, and Triple Ann's done a great job in Strasburg in his time. Since he took it over from Roller, but they're just a strong physical football team. They do things the right way. They're hard. They fire off the ball hard. They're gritty. They're tough. So we got to be able to match that and see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be also senior night.
Yeah, it'll be our senior night. Last home game of the season. Still fighting for a playoff spot. If we win this week, we're definitely in. We probably jump a few people. If we lose this week, we got to beat Clark and get in next week.
So basically, if you lose this week, next week will be like a mini playoff game.
Yeah.
Really. So it's been it's like an up and down season, back and forth. But the guys who still believe and they're still fighting.
Yeah, you're going to have that, especially on defense. We're pretty young. We're pretty much going to return every defensive player we have next year, and that's attributed to the fact that we're starting a lot of new faces. We're starting a lot of freshmen, sophomores, juniors. So that's takes a toll on you, and they're starting to figure it out. And next year we got to replace the whole offense because most of those guys are our seniors.
So last week on the picks, I was 7 for 12. You were 6 for 12.
Which one did you pick that I didn't?
I picked Philadelphia. You picked the Giants. That's one.
Scatterbo would have won if he didn't get hurt. The Giants would have won.
And I picked Ole Miss, and you picked you picked Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this week's picks, we have Vanderbilt at Texas.
I love Vandy right now. I want Vandy to pull it out. I like an underdog story.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Arch Vandy's playing another. We got a concussion last week, so I won't pick Vandy as well. Miami at SMU.
Ooh, that was tough. It's at SMU.
Yeah, SMU won. Well, they lost last week. Wake Forest beat them 13-12. I believe.
I'm gonna go with SMU at SMU.
I'm gonna pick Miami. I mean, they look like all worlds for that one game against Louisville. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Louisville at Virginia Tech.
Louisville, like I said, in the last few weeks, Virginia Tech's going through some stuff. As are a bunch of other schools right now, but
Yeah. Louisville's defense is really good. I know Virginia Tech thrives on running the ball, and I got a feeling Louisville's going to probably try to stop the Virginia Tech and force Jones to beat him, and he's not that great a passing quarterback. Georgia at Florida.
Georgia.
Yeah,
Go
I'm gonna go.
Dogs.
I think it's a no-brainer. UVA at Cal. This game is at 3:45. I thought it would be a 10 o'clock game tonight, but it's going to be at 3:45.
I'm gonna go with UVA. They're finding a way, right? Finding a way. 4 weeks and 4 overtime games, and they found a way to pull it out.
Yeah,
They literally won last week by an inch, so.
yeah, that was lucky. I know Cal has got a really good quarterback, but man, Tech ran all over them, so I'm expecting UVA to try to do the same thing. Georgia Tech and NC State.
I'm going with Georgia Tech. They're playing some good ball right now. I like them because you don't always hear about them. You know,
Right.
those are the teams I really like. So.
I saw one poll this week that they were in the top 5, so they're rolling. OU at Tennessee.
Who is it?
I think it's Oklahoma. No. Scratch that one. I wrote it down. I can't read mine right. All right, NFL, Minnesota, Detroit.
Detroit.
I know you're going to pick
Go
that.
Lions.
Yeah. I'm going the same way. KC at Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo.
I'm
I like Josh Allen.
gonna pick Buffalo too. Although KC's really starting to pick it
They're
up.
starting to figure it out.
Seattle at Washington.
Washington.
I'm gonna go Seattle. I can't never pick the Commanders.
I want the Commanders to win. I just don't know.
Arizona at Dallas.
Arizona. Dallas still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, they're gonna keep on figuring it out. I'm gonna pick Dallas, but they're gonna probably lose. And then it's probably a surprise team in football. The most surprise team in college or pros this year, it's got to be the Indianapolis Colts at Pittsburgh. Who would have ever thought when Daniel Jones left the Giants, he would ever be a great quarterback?
It shows you it's coaching. It's all coaching.
Yeah. Who you got?
Colts.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
Roll Colts.
So that's what all we have for this week. One other thing, I meant to say this earlier. Tomorrow night, volleyball hosts Central for the Bull Run District semifinals. Please get out there. I believe it's at 6.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday at 2 p.m. in Newmarket, the Region B cross-country meet.
It's actually moved to 11 and 11:45 because of the weather.
On Wednesday.
So it's still Wednesday, but I can't tell you which one runs first, boys and girls. But
Yeah.
the first group runs at 11 and the second group runs at 11:45.
And then tomorrow is the game at Strasburg for JV.
Yeah, JV plays at Strasburg, 6:30 kickoff. Everything's the same except for we moved it from Wednesday to Tuesday. So.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Larry.
Thank
and
you.
Let's bring in the All-State trainer, Captain Crawford.
Good job, Larry.
Hello, Catherine.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I see Catherine around. She does a lot of stuff that people don't realize. About 3 o'clock every day before practice. This is for all sports. She's driving that little Kubota around with all her coolers filled up with water and taking out each one. Each team is going to have water and checking on all the athletes. So let's talk about you for growing up in Madison. You played, what sports were you involved in?
Soccer and volleyball.
Soccer, volleyball?
I played basketball in middle school. That was just like more for fun.
What was your best sport?
I would say soccer because I grew up playing it since I was like 6 years old. We're just a soccer family.
Yeah.
I love volleyball though. I played that because we didn't have the middle school team then, so I played it in gym class and had so much fun. And so Miss Smith was like, "You should try out for volleyball." So just started that on the JV team in 8th grade and had a blast playing that too.
Yeah, so did you get hurt with one of them?
Yeah. So soccer, my first game, my 8th grade year, we were playing at Orange and I tore my ACL the first time. And 2 years later, same thing with soccer. We were playing at George Mason, and that was the year actually we went to states, and I tore my other one in a game that year too.
Do you think all those injuries made you want to do what you're doing now, training?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even know like really what this job was until I got those injuries and had those experiences with the people helping me. Some good, some not so good, and first it just opened my eyes to what this career was. Like I didn't really know anything about it, and then yeah, just being able to think about like helping someone else go through a really, really hard time physically, but also like mentally, emotionally, psychologically. It's like injuries can impact you in huge ways that people don't realize. So yeah, just going through that on my own and realizing like, wow, this is really cool. It kind of connects like helping people in the healthcare, but also sports, which I loved being around, combine the two just to be able to.
Yeah, being around sports all your life and then have that happen to you has got to give you a different insight to somebody else.
Yes,
It really
yeah.
does.
I don't think you truly understand what that's like till you go through it yourself.
Yeah.
Just like having to, soccer, like sports is my life. Soccer, playing soccer, I love to do that. And then having to sit there, you can't play, like you physically can't. And that's 6 to 9 month easy process for ACL rehab, right? And you're on crutches. If I tore my meniscus too, so that's like 2 months.
Not once, but
crutches.
twice.
Yeah. And that's why the second time was like even harder because you know what you're about to go through again. And yeah, I remember like just laying there on the field like slamming my fist in the grass because I was like so frustrated. Like I am seriously about to go through this again. Like
Could you tell? Did you knew what happened?
Yeah, I felt it right away. And just because I had done it before, I knew. I was like, there's no way that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a feeling of like, wow, I'm really about to walk this road again.
So you leave Madison and go to where?
I went to Liberty for my undergrad, Liberty University. They have a really good, strong athletic training program. Loved it there, had a lot of good experiences. I worked really closely with the men's basketball team there, got to travel and get some experience with them, so that was really cool. And then got my master's at California University in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
They had a 1-year program, you do straight through 1 year. So I did that so I didn't have to go 2 years.
So did you go anywhere else before you come to Madison?
Yeah, so I ended up working there at a high school through grad school and then just wanted to do something a little different for a little while. I had met some friends at my time at Liberty that lived near the beach in New Jersey, near Ocean City. So went and lived there for almost 2 years. Just did a couple different things, worked at a nutrition clinic and like my best friend's fishing tackle business, just doing some different things, and then moved home right before COVID.
Okay.
And that was when Miss Wyndham was principal and had approached me about coming to work at Madison, that they were going to be looking for somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure that was kind of sweet to be able to get back to your
Yes,
home.
and I wasn't really like expecting that, I just wanted to come home, be near my family, find something around here, and it just worked out perfectly. I mean, that's the same year that Larry started, so we've been on this journey together, which has been awesome.
You go to a sporting event, just kind of like where's Waldo? Where's Catherine? She's there.
I'm there.
Everything.
She's the one that keeps us going.
Yeah, no lie. I mean, she's there all the
Somebody's
time.
got to do it. Yeah, I love it. I don't think you can do this job without loving it and wanting to care for people. I mean, it's long nights. We all work long nights, but it's night after night of like sitting in the gym, being out on the field, and you can't just, and people think I'm just sitting there. You can't just be sitting there to do this job properly, right? A million things are going through my head at any second. You know, you have to be on high alert, like ready for anything.
So what are your like daily duties? What is your routine every day?
So I teach a class, so that's like my first kind of responsibility. I come in, get ready for that.
What class do you teach?
Sports medicine at
Okay.
the high school level. And then I have a little bit of time at the end of the school day, and that's where I'm catching up with kids that need stuff before the day ends, or like answering parents, talking with them, communicating about injuries with coaches, and then getting ready for the afternoon. So right now, fall season, it's football. Football takes a lot of my time up. When they're in season, it's just the nature of this job. I have to be at the practices. But then I cover the events for volleyball and cross country too. So
what do you do? Like, I know sometimes we have volleyball and JV football at the same night.
yes, which is, those nights are not my favorite because somebody always gets the short end, right? Like I can't be everywhere at one time. Football has to be our priority because it's the highest risk of injury for that sport, and so the majority of my time is there, and then they'll call me if they need something at another place, like a volleyball game.
So what is game day for you? Like, what do you have to do to?
So typical game day, like Friday game day for football. Is that what you were saying? Like football game day? Yeah. So that starts around noon, 1 o'clock. Like I'm like right after class, I'm coming down to the field house. I'm making Gatorade. I'm filling coolers, which are for our sideline, visiting sideline. Setting that up, making sure all my equipment's ready to be back up. I eat with the team. I think I love doing that, just being there, checking in on them, just getting my eyes on all of them before we get down there, making sure they're okay. Then they go, they do their pregame stuff. I head down, finish setting everything up, make sure all my taping station is ready. They come down. I'm just kind of waiting on them at that point. They do their walkthrough, get dressed, then I'm taping for the next 30 minutes to an hour. Any other type of pregame treatment that they need, and then checking in with like the other athletic trainer once they get there. That's just a courtesy thing you do. You just kind of touch base and then wait for the game to finally start.
Same way with volleyball too?
Yeah, obviously a lot less time and responsibility, but I set up water for each sideline. There's a few girls that do different kinds of treatment or taping, so I'll get them. So if there's like a football practice, I'll come in, I'll get all the stuff ready for the girls for volleyball, go back to football, finish up football, come back up for a volleyball game, and then I'm there for the rest of the night.
I'm sure it's got to be rewarding for you to be able to have a relationship with these kids. On all the sports.
Yes.
And then the cool part, you haven't been here long enough yet, but the cool part is you'll be able to see them later on in life as they get to be aftermaths of sports and get on their life. And that'll be a cool thing for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've already seen like little bits and pieces of that. I'll just use Bryce as an example. Bryce Breeden, he's playing now college basketball, and like that's just so cool for me because he went through so many different injuries. Like there were seasons where he was in my room getting taped every day before practice just to be able to even practice, so we spent a lot of time together just trying to figure things out and work through things, and now to see him just like, I'm good, figuring it out, playing at the next level, it definitely is rewarding.
So, I'm sure most people know, some people don't, it's a little incident happened at a cross-country meet. Was it 3 years ago?
Four going on
First
5.
came here?
Yeah, my very first year. Because it was the spring, it was that COVID year where all the sports were in the spring season.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Yes.
I'm sure that was COVID wasn't crazy.
Well, that in itself was crazy. I mean, there was a new athletic director that year. It was my first year. Like, we were just trying to figure everything out with all the different restrictions from the VHSL. Like, it was craziness. So then they're like, okay, we're pushing all the sports. We're still going to play everything, but they're all going to be from January to June. And squeezing them all together, and that created more chaos in itself, too.
But back to that day, We had Mass was hosting cross country with rap.
Rappahannock,
Was
yeah.
the only team? Was it Mass and
I couldn't tell you if there was another team there.
I can remember.
I don't know.
I can remember being in Hoover Ridge that day, and I was like, "What was this helicopter landing on the soccer field?"
Yep.
Do you want to talk about what happened?
Yeah. So again, my first year, and that was I think that probably was the first home meet. It was in March again because all the seasons were in the spring, and I'd been at football, but it was like a nice day for it being March, and I'm thinking like I'm just gonna go over to the cross country meet, and now I go to all of them, but you know, my first year I was like terrified to leave football because something's gonna happen, right? But it was like I'm gonna go over there, I'll throw my equipment in the car, just pop over to Hoover Ridge. Betty Jo was the principal, Mike Saker was there, and Phil was there too. So I stayed near the finish line, and all of a sudden, I had seen Kenny before, like this incident happened. He was just running everywhere on the course, and so my attention had like already kind of caught
Kenny being the Rappahannock
Kenny
coach.
Burke, yes, the one that,
Right.
yes. So I had already been kind of watching, and then all of a sudden my back was turned, but behind me I heard Betty Jo was like, "Catherine, I think they need you over here." And I turn around and he's out. He's just laid out. And I was like, "Oh wow, okay, yep." And that's why this like training is important, you know. It's like, okay, I gotta see, is he responding? I gotta see if he's breathing. Let me check a pulse. Okay, he doesn't have a pulse.
How can you keep calm by doing all that?
I really don't know. And I've never been in that situation before. So you really don't know how you're gonna act.
Right.
And I'm just thanking the Lord that I was able to just stay calm and cool. In the moment, you go through the steps in your head. That's why you get recertified for CPR every 2 years. And people are like, it's so repetitive, it's annoying, we have to sit through this again. I don't mind it because then in those moments, you know exactly what you have to do and when, and it just happens. So there was another lady there that was a nurse. She jumped in. We were kind of just like, and it was quiet too. Nobody was freaking out. We were like quietly talking to each other, just focused in the zone. Mike was actually the one, Mike Saker, that grabbed my AED out of my car for me because I was like, "Mike, I think we need that. Can you grab that?" Somebody else was calling 911. Somebody else was calling his wife. Somebody else was controlling the rest of the kids and the people there. Somebody was directing the ambulance. We started CPR. Me and another lady, and then another gentleman came and helped after that too. And of course, it felt like an eternity till anyone else got there, the rescue squad or anybody. So I did have to use my AED on him, which was crazy. And then, the rescue squad got there, jumped in, and we just kind of waited to see. And thankfully, he's okay. Got to talk to him on the phone that night, like crazy miracle that I just had a tiny part in. But very thankful that it
You had more than a tiny part. We always talk about state championships and all this stuff, and it's great, but you saved a life. That's a whole lot more important than any damn state championship is. I mean, we're really grateful to have you here, that's for sure.
Thank you, Jerry.
Another thing, we were just talking about it. I want to, later on we'll talk about it in another episode, but Mike Saker. Lost Mike, how many years ago has it been? It's been 4 or 5 years.
It was that December. Yeah, that December. So
Lost him way too soon.
Yeah.
What a great guy. Everybody knew Mike. The gentleman.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about working with him?
Yeah, well, I knew him first from my driver's ed PE teacher.
Right. I can remember him when I was in high school, and his mom worked in the office, and he would come in. We were doing JV basketball, and he would come to the gym where we were at. So,
he's a character. So obviously was very familiar with him, knew him. Coming back, it was a crazy first 3 years for me. I had 3 different athletic directors, right? So the one I came in with, he left after 1 year. Mike took over the next year, which was cool. I just kind of see that as a gift. Like, we got to hang out a lot. I mean, sometimes he'd be like, "We got to go do this," but hey, let's go. We'll go to Starbucks.
Right.
He might try to argue that he didn't like his like caramel whatever frappuccino
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. But so yeah, I got to spend some cool time with him, just figuring that whole transition time out. You know, him feeling responsibility to the school. You know, they couldn't find another athletic director, so he's like, I'm gonna do it, and he stepped up and
That was him.
was doing a lot. Yeah.
That was him.
Yep. So just super thankful to have been able to.
Yeah,
work
we
with him.
sure do miss him, and he left his mark on Madison, gone way too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming today. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope. Thank you for having
She
me.
was nervous about doing this.
I just didn't know what you wanted me to talk
What are you going to talk about? Let's go talk.
Just gonna
So,
hang out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Let's get up there. Now we have Mr. Freddie Harris.
How you doing, Jerry?
How you doing, sir? I can tell you what.
All right, brother.
I would hate to be a running back on the opposing team with Freddie Harris.
I hate to see you
It's
as running back, Jerry.
Well, that would, yeah, because I was like 130 pounds, so it probably broke me in half. And seeing number 83 looks like steam and snot going out of his ready to hit somebody. Because Freddie was a monster.
Yeah, I love playing football, man. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for coming. So Freddie, I can give everybody, talk about growing up in Madison.
So I was a transplant. I came to Madison in the 7th grade. Moved in beside Bo and Edith Taylor. And Bo Taylor, or no, not Bo Taylor, his name was Bo Clatterbuck.
Yeah,
It was a long time ago. Bo Clatterbuck. Bo Clatterbuck was a stone cold Mountaineer football fan.
Oh, yes.
And I was a 7th grader, 13 years old, didn't know really about Madison.
So where were you at school before here?
So I was in, we went to Cedar Lee, so that was in Fauquier County.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a junior high school when I got here. It was middle, it's called middle school.
Yeah.
So it was that whole transition period in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Did you play youth football here?
I didn't, so I got here and I thought I was going to be able to play youth football, but I was 5'10", 180 pounds, and it was a weighted league. And I wasn't a fat kid, I was big. And they were like, no, you're too big to play. I'm like, too big? I'm just, skinny.
Yeah.
I thought, but yeah, I was out of the weight range for my age,
Right.
so I couldn't play.
Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, so played baseball, wrestled, played basketball.
So you wrestled with Coach Saker?
Coach Saker's first year as the main wrestling coach, the head coach. I was a senior year wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah, I only wrestled as a senior. Ended up being 6th in the state. We took 13 kids to state that year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Saker's first year. I think a couple of us placed, 4 or 5 of us placed, but I placed 6. That was the last spot on the podium. But it was my only year. I wrestled 220.
Right.
Yeah.
So you played also baseball for Madison too?
Played baseball for Madison. Yeah, love baseball. That was my favorite sport, actually.
Was Butterworth your coach?
No. Billy
Tanner?
Billy Tanner was my coach, and Billy Mitchell.
Okay.
So,
oh gosh.
Yeah, so that was kind of the great thing about, we just had the Hall of Fame dinner that you did a fantastic job hosting, by the way.
Thank you.
But Katherine Johnson got inducted. She was my freshman basketball coach. Billy Mitchell, who's amazing, coached me in baseball. Eddie, of course, coached me in football.
Yeah.
Raymond Kirkley was a freshman football player as I was a senior.
Yeah.
He got in. Ben Breeden, I played basketball, baseball, and football with Ben. He was so a lot of guys, it really meant a lot for me to be there. It was a nice night for that.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a really great night. I'll tell you, we've talked about it before in other shows. If you didn't make it this time, please make it next time. It was really special. So your main sport is football.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. I was 220 pounds at the run, so it's a pretty good combination of linebacker.
So you played, did you play any offense? You were always supposed to be.
Yeah, well, I would come in as a freshman. In the 8th grade, of course, I played JV, and I was a dude on JV, and I knew I was going to play varsity as a freshman. They kind of told me that. And in them days, the gold shirts and the blue shirt, the gold shirt was the starting offense, the blue shirt was the starting defense. And I'm like day 3 sitting at camp in a red shirt. and I'm hot, right? I'm just sitting there, and Eddie comes up to me and throws me a gold shirt and a blue shirt. And he's like, and I don't know what he was thinking at the time, but I'm thinking he's like, what jerseys he's going to come out in? I put the blue one on. I wanted to play defense. So I did play a lot of offense. They put me in 83. They kind of give me some choices, but like I was talking about, Bo Clatterbuck used to take me to football games. We used to watch Curtis Bourdin. He wore number 83. He had a lot of interceptions. I really liked watching him play football. That was one of my options. I was like, I'll be 83.
Yeah.
So
Curtis Bourdin. Yeah, Curtis was on the halftime show at the last home game with Rod and Dave.
nice.
Yeah, that was really nice to hear that. So you go and your defense, you're middle linebacker.
Oh yeah. They pretty much set the defense up around the middle linebackers, and back then
You're on a 4-3 or 5-2.
it was more of a 5-2. They kind of the defensive line didn't make plays. They ate up blockers, and then us linebackers straight. Right before me, there was Dennis Berry and Mike Gooch played the middle linebackers. They were great. That's kind of who I looked up to. I was an 8th grader when they were seniors.
And those guys were. Dennis Berry was a beast. He was only 81, I believe.
He was 81,
Yeah.
and so 83 didn't feel so bad at linebacker for me. And then I come in as a freshman. I started as a freshman right out the gate. I was 6 foot, probably 195 as a freshman. I was a big kid, you know. They could run, so that helped. And I was just flying around making plays as a freshman, and it kind of just it stuck. You know, I wasn't going nowhere.
What years did you play? What years?
I was 93 to 96 in football, so I graduated in 97.
So, who are some of the people you played with?
So Kevin Arrington was a senior when I was a freshman. He was the
Everything.
Tony. He was everything. Yeah, he was our whole offense.
Yeah. After Tony graduated.
After Tony graduated,
He was
Tony and
everything.
Paul Porter graduated.
Yeah.
That whole class was amazing. That was Tony Arrington, Paul Porter, Dennis Berry, Mike Goots, Dustin Myers, not Hugh Wingate, Chris Wingate.
Well, that bunch, one of the games I remember, I believe one of the Orange and won that year against Orange.
Yeah.
That was a big game, but
Yeah.
they were one of the last times we ever beat Orange.
Yeah, I beat Orange my junior year,
Okay.
senior year. We played Orange. We won. I played offense them year. Eddie would throw me in games that play offense when he
What'd you
wanted
play?
to win games. Tight end.
Tight end.
Yeah, they throw me the ball. They didn't tackle me very easily.
So who else was on you played with? Who was all linebacker with you on defense?
So John Lamb
Okay.
played beside me a lot, and
He
then
was 84.
84. Yeah,
Yeah, I
me and
remember
him,
that.
83 and
I
84.
gotta tell people all the time, I can't remember when I put my shoes at home.
Yeah.
But I can remember about sports from
Yeah.
years ago.
As a freshman, Luke Sylvain was
Yes.
beside me for a year. And then John got hurt as a senior, and Aaron Sylvain, his little brother,
Yeah.
played with me.
Yeah.
But that was good times.
On the defensive line, who was on the
Defensive line, had some good defensive linemen in front of me. That's kind of had my success. Dries Ellis,
Oh, yeah.
Derek Walker,
Oh,
defensive ends, Cleo Bryant, big man up front.
Yeah.
Doug Carpenter, a little muscle. I called him a muscle pig.
Yeah.
He was played in front of me.
Yeah. that's
You
good.
know, with what he's 5'1", maybe,
Yeah.
and just muscled up.
Yeah.
He didn't let people get after me, so
Yeah.
he was letting me scrape.
He was
it.
nose guard, I believe,
He
wasn't he?
played a lot of nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to move a stomp.
Yeah.
You know.
He was tough.
Yeah.
And then, so what are some of your most memorable games you can remember playing for Madison? What's some of it?
So Eddie's 250th win was in Orange. I scored a couple touchdowns in that game and made a pile of tackles. That was great, and it was Eddie's 250, so that was a big deal for everybody.
Yeah.
The Central Lunenburg win when we went over there, and I think we shut them out. I think it was 7-0, or it might have been 7-6 or something like that. But
Is that were you there? Was that the game they like went for first and goal to 1 yard line?
yeah, yes, exactly. The punt went over our guy. We went to punt the ball. We was going to win the game. The punt went over Drees's head. Drees
Yeah.
was the punter. He downed it at like the 2. It was first and goal at the 2 yard line. We were up by like 1 point.
Yeah.
And they ran the same play 4
I was
times in a
standing right
row.
down there.
And
I mean, they were right up the middle. They couldn't have. They didn't.
Ed and Phil called time. They had 3 timeouts left, and they called all of them. After every continuous play, and they come out there and they just be like, stuffing. So I was like, yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm stuffing. And so I like ramming my head in other people's heads. So it kind of worked out for everybody.
I just couldn't believe they didn't try to run around the outside. They kept trying. They had a really big running back too. He's a big guy.
That kid was a horse. He was a tackle that played fullback. He looked like,
He was huge.
They didn't hand it to him. I kept hitting him, but they never handed it to him. They'd hand it to one of the other guys. They tried to run right behind him, but I wouldn't let him go any further.
That was. I'll never forget that game. That was awesome.
It was a fun game.
So, some year, all district, all state.
I was all state, junior, senior year, all region defensive player of the year, my senior year. All the Central Virginias, all that stuff. Anything you could get in football as a junior and senior, I got it. As a sophomore, I led the team in tackles. I know that only because Eddie made fun of the seniors because I was a sophomore. So that was the only reason I knew that. And the only real reason, we didn't have defensive stats back then. Obviously, the coaches had to keep something for the district, trying to get district and region votes. And so the only thing I ever heard is Eddie told a couple schools that I had back-to-back 200 tackle seasons.
Wow.
So, yeah. And looking back, I've coached football so long, I know that's a pretty impressive stat. Now, whether that's true or not, or he was just telling them that, I don't know, but they set the defense up for me to make tackles. So it's not like it's the players around me more than just me. They set it up for me to make
So how
tackles.
far did you guys get in the playoffs those years?
So made it to the regional championship games against Powhatan my junior year.
Yeah.
Or was that my senior year? That was my senior year, made it to the regional championship game at Powhatan and lost that. And then all the losses I try to stuff down in a bad place. I can't really remember the last games. I remember it hurts. I was a transplant, like I said, in Madison, and coming into Madison, and the people and the community embraced me, and I forever will be in debt to this community for that. I did not have a good upbringing as a kid. I didn't really have a strong family oriented lifestyle, but I had a lot of people really that just embraced me.
The Madison community, we were all like family.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why coming back, coaching for Larry, man, Coach Helmick, I think, is just totally underrated. I don't care about the wins and losses, but the way he takes care of the players, the way the players respect him, the coaching staff respects him. I know I do. I want to be here for a long time. I coached football for 10 years at Liberty. 7 years there, I was a DC.
I was going to ask you, because your son played for Liberty?
My son's the all-time leading tackler at Liberty, the oldest, and then the other was a really good football player in his own right. He was defensive MVP as a senior. Good players. They all led the team in tackles.
Did you were a DC fan?
I was a DC there,
For
yeah.
how long?
7 seasons.
7 years.
Yeah.
No, that's really good teams.
We had good teams, a couple undefeated teams. Had some battles with Larry at EV. We had some good tests there. We even played Brandon, who was our offensive coordinator, was a interim head coach in Culpeper. I beat him too. I'll let him know. I don't try to rub that in too much. We beat him too. But he had some good team. He kind of, Brandon ran some good football mind.
Yeah. So so you left when you left Madison. You just went in and you coached. How far along did you left Madison? You started coaching.
So I coached. So about 2001 was my first year coaching. Started coaching. I coached a nationally ranked travel football team. We ended up going to Florida, placing 3rd in the nation. I was a defensive coordinator on that team too. We allowed 6 points per game. We had a lot of shutouts.
Yeah.
to excuse that a little bit. But
Yeah.
of course, my son played on that team, and I think 13 of my seniors that I ended up having in Liberty, where we had an undefeated team that year, lost in a regional championship game to there was a 5A school that dropped down to 4A that last season. None of their kids left; they were studs. They beat us, but it was a hard-fought game.
So, Coach Dean's your coach. Who's your DC? Who's DC back then?
DC was Phil Warren.
Phil Warren.
I love Phil. Good dude. Still to this day, I can talk to Phil. And then again, not much of an upbringing here. I was a hard head. And the coaches, they were more like father figures to me, man, than anything else. And they knew that, and they embraced that role. Eddie and Phil and Billy Tanner and Tom Butterworth, and they all were, very good to me.
Yeah.
They helped me control my emotions, turned me into the man I am today. I'm a giver these days. I like giving back to the community. I have my own business. I have 8 kids total with my stepkids and my biological kids. So being a father's first for me now. I got all adult children except a 4-year-old girl.
Wow.
So we're trying to get back into Madison right now. Yeah. And we want to raise her here in Madison.
I know it's got to be awesome to come here and being accepted in the community, and then to be able to come back and give back to the community, give it to you.
Yes.
That's got to be a special feeling.
It's like come full circle, right? It's a wonderful thing, and nobody kind of forgets you. You come back, and everybody remembers your name. It's like an old bar or something. It's like you walk in, everybody knows your name. It's just like the community.
So they holler at Norm, they holler at Freddie.
That's right. Fred. Yeah. A lot of times I don't know who they are. I know I've gotten older and fatter, but everybody is gray and grayer and fatter now, but still wonderful people.
Well, we are certainly glad you came back, and hope you enjoy your time in Madison. Hope you stay here for a long time. Appreciate everything you've done for Madison.
Well, I appreciate Madison.
Coaching and playing. It really means a lot. People, we all always have to reminisce about the old days all the time, but it really was special. And I think Larry's doing the same thing. It's something we can reminisce about this for years to come too.
I'll tell you, my coaching career means a whole lot more to me than my playing career ever did. And I'm not, maybe that's, of course, it's hindsight being able to live through it. But you think when that helmet comes off for the last time as a high schooler, I played a little semi-pro ball and stuff like that too.
Oh, did you?
But it's nothing like high school football. You're playing with your buddies.
Exactly.
And
that gets, we talked about this last week, that gets lost in the fact with football and all sports. I think it's turned into too much about individuals, nothing about team, but experience. You remember the bus rides, all the stuff.
The bus rides, the locker room, the meals. That's what we fell in love with. And when I got to come back to be a coach, I realized that's what I missed. That's what I loved, and that's why I just love it here at Madison. The culture, Larry is he come into a dying Madison County football program, and it's come back.
It's probably a good word. It was almost dead.
Well, we Catherined it back to life. And we feel good about it. I'm just super glad to be a part of it, and I want to be a part of it for a long time to come. I hope Coach Helmet sticks around for it.
I tell you what, we think about that COVID year. It was like I know Larry.
I try not to think about that.
To walk right, but you know what? You need to think about it because you need to think about how far we've come since then.
Yeah.
Football's about done in Madison. We think about all this.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That is so crazy to think about for me.
This is our 79th year in football in Madison. Next year will be our 80th year. We are at number 499.
We're at 499.
Yeah, so our next win will be our 500th win for Madison County football since 1946. 1946.
And he was there for Eddie's 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, not many people know that. It's a big deal, man.
Oh yeah, it's huge. I'm gonna be here for the number 500, and let's hope it's Friday night against Strasburg.
Now you're talking.
Yeah,
That's
That'd be
what
a
I'm
good one.
talking about.
that'd be a good one.
Well, thank you, Freddie. Really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jerry. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you do.
I appreciate you, and thank y'all. And we'll be back. I believe we're coming next Sunday. I think we're going to be here. We're not be able to do it Monday, so we'll see you all next Sunday night. Appreciate y'all tonight, and check us out on social media, and go Mountaineers.